Hi everyone, thank you so much for clicking this video. My name is Susan. In today's tutorial, we'll be creating this short pants, very easy to make. If you want to learn how to make it, please follow along. I will use this dress form to show you how to measure for the short pant. Okay, so now you wear something. If it's a skirt that has a side joining or trouser that has a side joining and have elastic at the waist of this dress form, indicating that I'm starting from the waist. All right, so now even though we don't need the waist measurement, but we're going to measure it, you start from one side to the other side. Okay, so now I'm going to take the front waist measurement from one side joining to the other side. Whatever I have, that will be the front waist measurement. Then the back will be from this side also. I hope you understand what I'm doing. Then the other side, you stop at the other side, right? So from here to here, that's the back waist measurement. Then the hip is the fullest part. You do the same from this side joining to the other side joining. You take the hip measurement back hip measurement. Just put your tape rule on the fullest part of your hip like so, one side to the other side. Take the back hip measurement, then you do the same to the front. From the side joining to the other side joining, you take the front hip measurement. You will also need to take the crouch measurement. The crouch is from the waist to where the leg is starting from. Preferably, you can sit on the chair, then you measure from the waist to the top of the seat or the chair. Okay, I'm just using this to demonstrate. So from the waist to where the leg is starting from, that's the crouch. Then afterward, you take the length of the short pant or trouser that you want to create. You'll be needing 1 to 1.5 yards of fabric. So here I have my fabric, I have my pattern paper, then I have my rulers, I have my marker pen, and I have my tape rule. So let's get started. So the measurement I'll be using is the back hip measurement, the front hip measurement, the crouch length, and also the short pant length. I will not need the waist measurement because I'll be putting elastic at the waist. So now I'll be creating my working area. So to prepare my working area, I'll mark like 2.5 because I want to create margin at the top, 2.5 inch here. Then also at this side, I will mark between 1 and 1.5. But here is 1.5. You can actually mark 1 inch. Right, then I'll use my long ruler to connect the dots together. The next thing now is to mark the length. The length I'm working with is 19 inches. So I'll take it from this top margin, 19 inches. I'll mark it down, put a dot, right? Then I'll mark 19 here also. Then I'm going to use my ruler to square a line. The next thing now is to mark the crouch length. Okay, so the crouch I'm working with is 10.25. So I'll be adding 3/4 to it. So it will be 11 inches. So from this top now, I'll mark 11 inches downward. Okay, then I'll come here to mark 11 inches. Then I'm going to square with my ruler. I'm going to label crouch. Okay. So the next thing, I'm going to divide this space from this to this space. I'll divide it by 3. All right. I have 11 inches. So if I divide by 3, it's like a point after 3.5. Whatever you get, you now come from the crouch upward. You put the measurement. Okay, I have 3.5 and a point. So I'll just mark it like so. All right. Then I'll come here also. I'll mark it. Then I'm going to use my ruler to square a line. This new line is the hip line, so I'll just label hip line. I'm going to also label this as the back, so we're starting from the back. This is the back trouser. Okay, so the next thing now, I'm going to impute the back hip measurement. So the back hip measurement I'm working with is 21.25. So I'm going to divide that by the 2. Okay, 2. I'll divide by 2, so I have like a 10.5 and a point. I'll put a dot there. All right, then I'm going to add quarter as is. Okay, so total I have a point to 11 inches. So I will be coming to the upper line here. This is the waistline. So I'll take the same measurement I have on the hip line, a point to 11. I'll mark it like so. Then I'm going to square a line from the waist to the crouch length. So now I'm going to label this new line, okay, waist. So this is the waistline. Okay, so now on this line, from the waist to the crouch length, I'm going to divide into two. I have 11 inches divided by 2. I'll put a dot there. All right, then on the crouch line now, I'm going to take my pattern master, then get my angle 45. I'll mark my angle 45, okay, like so. So now from this crouch line now, I'm going to take 2 inches towards the angle 45, then I'll put a dot there. So I'm going to measure from here to here. Whatever I have will be divided by 2. Like I have a point 11, so that's about almost 5.5. So I'm going to add it to the width of the crouch. Okay, so I'll move here, just add almost 5.5. Then I'm going to mark it. All right, just put a dot like so. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to take my ruler. So I'm going to connect the dot from here, here, then here. So I'm going to draw the curve now, making sure there's no sharp edge, okay? Just make sure it touches the crouch line, then yeah, the curve is natural like so. Then I'll connect to the half point. Yes. From the new point here and here, I'm going to get the midpoint. Whatever I have there, let's assume I'm having 17 inches because the marker is adding to my measurement. So that 17 inches will be divided by 2, that's 8.5. Then I'll add half an inch to it, making 9. Then I'll start from the side now, mark 9 inches. Coming to the waistline, I'm going to mark 9 inches also. Then I'm going to use my ruler to square a line from the waist down to the trouser length, the short length, sorry. This new line will serve as the grey line. On each side of the grey line, you are going to take the leg opening. It depends on how wide you want it. So here, I'm going to use 6.5. You can use 7, depends on you. So on this other side also, I'm going to mark 6.5. All right, like so. Then I'm going to connect. This is a side seam. I'm going to connect it to the hip line. Now moving to the inseam, from here I'm going to go in by half an inch. Okay, so from this half an inch I'll connect to the leg opening. Just square a line down. From this original point now, I'm going to connect in a curve to join the new line. Just use the curvy part of a ruler to connect it. And here we have it. Okay, like I said earlier, you can make the leg opening wider. It depends on you. You can extend it here, maybe like half inch or 1 inch. So the next thing is to move to the waist because it's going to be elastic. So we're going to add the extension by 2 inches so that we can fold it. 2 inches, I'll mark it like so. All right, then I'm going to square the side line up. Square it up like so. Then the inseam also, I'm going to square it up, then connect the dot, the 2 inches, just square a line like so. Now moving to the bottom, I'm going to add the hemming allowance. I'm going to use 1.5 inch. It depends on you. You can use 1, you can use 2, but I'm using 1.5 inch. Right, so I'll just mark it like so. Then I'm going to connect the dot with my ruler. Now it's time to add the side seam allowance. I'm going to add half an inch here, all right. Also the inseam here, also I'm going to add half an inch around. So we're done with the pattern. So now start the cutting from the bottom. Okay, so now I'm going to fold on the original length, okay, before adding the hem allowance. So I'll fold it backward. Now I'm going to continue the cutting. Okay, so I have the back ready to be placed on fabric. So here I want to start the front, so I'm preparing my working area. So 2.5 up here. All right, can mark 3. Then here I'm marking 1.5. Then afterward, I'm going to connect the dots. Just like we did to the back, I'm going to take the length first. The length we're working with is 19 inches, so I'm going to measure it 19. All right, 19. Then I'm going to use my ruler to connect the dots together. All right, so the next thing now is to put the crouch measurement. Total is 11 inches. Just mark it. Then I'm going to connect the dot with my ruler. I'm going to divide the space by 3, okay? Then I'll take the, whatever I have, I'll take it from the crouch upward, just the same we did to the back. So just measure it from the crouch upward, then I'm going to use my ruler to square it. Now I'm going to label crouch, okay, then hip and waist. The next thing now is to put the front hip measurement. The front hip measurement I'm working with is 18 inches. So I'm going to divide 18 by 2. That's 9 inches. Then I'm going to add a quarter to it as is. So I'm going to measure 9 quarter. Right, then I'll move to the waist here also. I'm going to measure 9 quarter. Then I'm going to square a line from the waist down to the crouch length. Right now, I'm going to divide this line by 2. I'll put a dot on the half point, okay, like so. Then I'll get my angle 45 using my pattern master. All right, angle 45. Then I'll mark it like so. Then towards the angle 45, I'm going to take 1.5 inch. Okay. This space on the crouch level, I'm going to measure, then I'll divide by 4. On the back, we divide by 2, but in this case, we're going to divide by 4. So I have 3/8, so I'm going to add it to the width. I'll mark it like so. All right, then I'm going to connect from this point to this point, then to this point. I'm going to measure the space I have here on the crouch. Okay, I have 11/3/4. So I'm going to divide 11/3/4 by 2. So I have a 5/3/8. Then I'm going to add half an inch to it. So I have 6/5/8. So I'm going to take the measurement from the side seam, from the side 6/5/8. I hope you understand the mathematics. Then I'll put the dot here. Then I'll come to the waist also. I'll retake it. Then I'll connect the point with my ruler. I'm going to roll this line straight down to the length of the pant. Then this will serve as my grey line. Moving to the leg opening on each side of the grey line, I'm going to mark 5.5 inch. Okay, for the back I use 6.5. The front has to be lesser than the back in order for it to sit well. All right, you can use 6 so far it's not up to the width of the back. Okay, so now I'm going to connect now from this to the hip line. On the crotch width here, I'm going to go in by half an inch, just the same we did to the back, okay? Then I'll connect it, the new dot now, connect it to the leg opening like so. All right, then I'm going to use a curvy part of my ruler to connect in a smooth curve to join the new line. Moving to the waist area, I'm going to measure 2 inches upward, 2 inches like so, okay? All right, then I'm going to connect it, square a line up like this, then connect this. All right, then I'll move to the bottom. I'm going to add a 1.5 inch, just everything we did to the back, okay, 1.5 inch. Then I'm going to connect the points together. So the next thing is to add side seam and the inseam allowance. I'm going to use half an inch. So here it is, cotton fabric. I cut two of each, both front and back. Okay, so I'm going to remove the pattern now. Just remove the pattern. All right, okay, so I'm going to go over to my machine and sew here on the crouch. I'll do the same here also. Here it is, I have it stitched. I also went ahead and iron open. Okay, so this is the back and here is the front. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn this is the right side, then I'm going to place the front also right side facing right side. Then I'm going to align the side. Like so, I'll stitch on half an inch. I'll move this side also. I'll stitch on half an inch. All right, then I'll come to the legs here also, starting from the middle. Okay, I'm going to align it. Then I'm going to stitch on half an inch, like so. Then here also. All right, so I've stitched it down. Then I also went and iron open. So now I'm going to turn inside out. Okay, so now I have the right side facing me. Now at the waist, now I'm going to measure 2 inches, the one we added for fold. So I'm going to fold it inward like so. Then the edge, I'm going to fold half an inch inward. Then I'm going to stitch it. Then I'm going to leave like 2 inches opening for my elastic. Then I'll move to the leg opening. I'm going to fold inward by 1.5 inch. All right, then I will fold the edge by half. Okay, like so. Then I'll stitch around. Then I'll do the same to the other leg. I have a stitch both the waist and the leg. Okay, now this is the opening that I'm going to use to insert the elastic. So I have my elastic here. What I did was to remove 3 inches from the actual waist measurement. Okay, so I'm going to use my safety pin. Before then, let me remeasure. The waist is 32. Okay, so let me see what I have here. Okay, so I have 29 inches. So now I'm going to use my safety pin. I'm going to insert it. Then I'm going to pass it through the opening, the 2 inches opening. I'm going to pass the elastic through it. Now I'm going to go to the machine, then place the elastic on each other like so. Then I'm going to stitch down. I'll use stitch to hold it together, then sew the opening. And here is the finished product. I went ahead and placed another stitch in between, in the middle, to hold the elastic down. It's looking really nice. This is the front and this is the back. Okay, thank you so much for clicking this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up. You can also hit the notification bell so as to get notified when I upload new videos. Till I come your way again, bye for now.